In this video, I want to take you through the normalized burn ratio. The normalized burn ratio is one of the vegetation index used to identify burn areas and provide a measure of burn severity, such that in a field or forest or in an area under study, you can use this index called normalized burn ratio to identify areas that were burned. After wildlife fire, you can use this index to identify areas that were burnt from areas that were not touched during fire incidents. Now, the normalized burn ratio is a remote sensing index used primarily to assess the impact of wildfires on vegetation and land cover. It is calculated using multispectral satellite imagery, specifically by comparing the near-infrared and the shortwave infrared bands. So generally, the normalized burn ratio typically range from -1 to +1. A high normalized burn ratio value, that is when it is close to 1, it generally indicates healthy and green vegetation. However, when the value is low, when it is close to -1, such value suggests burnt or bare cover. So a value near 0 often indicates area like non-productive vegetation or bare soil. But when it is very close to -1, that is very low, that indicates burnt area. For instance, if you look, this is a typical example of map depicting the normalized burn ratio map. So the area that are in green are considered to be untouched. So such area were not touched during the fire incidents. However, the area indicated as red, these are highly burnt area. That is, it has low value of normalized burn ratio, indicating that it was area that was severely burnt. So this is the typical overview of normalized burn ratio. It's an index used to assess the severity of burnt area after wildfires incidents. Now, in calculating the normalized burn ratio index from satellite image, the formula generally used is normalized burn ratio is equal to near infrared minus shortwave infrared all over near infrared plus shortwave infrared. And if you are using Landsat, for example, in Landsat 4 to 7, the normalized burn ratio is calculated as band 4 minus band 7, all divided by band 4 plus band 7. However, if you are using Landsat 8 or 9, the bands you are going to use is band 5 minus band 7, all divided by band 5 plus band 7. So this is the formula used to calculate normalized burn ratio from Landsat image. So the importance of normalized burn ratio is that it is very crucial for evaluating the severity of burn areas. After wildfire, the normalized burn ratio can highlight changes in vegetation health and soil condition. By this, it provides insight into recovery processes. By comparing the pre and post-fire normalized burn ratio values, researchers can quantify the extent of damage and monitor rehabilitation over time. So, what are the applications of normalized burn ratio? It has a very important application in wildfire assessment. Normalized burn ratio is widely used in post-fire assessment to map burn severity, which help in the land managers to understand the extent of damage that was done by the fire. So after fire incidents in forests, you can use this index, that is normalized burn ratio, to assess the level of damage that has been done by fire. By this, you'll be able to know the area that were affected and area that were not touched during the wildfire incident. The next application is in ecological studies. So researchers can use normalized burn ratio to study vegetation recovery patterns and the ecological impact of wildfire on ecosystem. So after wildfire, the recovery process actually it takes time, but you can use normalized burn ratio to study the pattern of recovery of vegetation after fire incidents. Then it also has application in land management. It helps in making informed decisions about land management practices, including reforestation and habitat restoration. So after fire incidents, to rehabilitate or restore the habitat or an area, normalized burn ratio is very helpful in managing this scenario to make an informed decision about land management practices, including restorations of forests and habitat restoration. Then it also has application in climate change research. So by analyzing trends in burn severity over time, normalized burn ratio contributes to understanding the effect of climate change on wildfire frequency and intensity. So this index is very useful in assessing the impact of climate change on wildfires. Then in conclusion, normalized burn ratio is a vital tool in remote sensing, providing valuable data that support environmental monitoring and management efforts. In the next video, I will show you how to calculate normalized burn ratio from Landsat images. See you in the next video. Thank you for watching.